What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel where we talk about how to build credit, how to establish relationships with banks, and most importantly, how to get you access to high limit credit funding. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you to subscribe. Otherwise, you could like, share, or comment down below. It helps our content reach a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. So in today's video, I have some news to share with you guys. I've been receiving emails and comments from subscribers telling me that their MyJewelers Club $5,000 trade line had fallen off of their TransUnion report. Now, for those who don't know what MyJewelers Club is, MyJewelers Club was one of the first of these credit builder types of trade lines. Now, this is a growing thing that we're starting to see is the credit reporting agencies becoming a little bit more strict in terms of the different companies that are reporting these types of trade lines. Now, here's the thing about it, right? Technically, companies like AG Jewelers, Lygos Jewelry, My Jewelers Club, they're not technically selling a trade line. What they're doing is actually charging a membership fee in order for you to get access to financing to purchase jewelry. Now, that's the product, right? The financing to get the jewelry. It's not technically the reporting of the trade line. Now, we've seen this recently with AG Jewelers. AG Jewelers, along with a host of other companies, have had issues with the credit reporting agencies. Now, overall, the credit reporting agencies are starting to crack down because the way they look at it, you shouldn't be selling trade lines technically, right? It's not the data that you should be selling. It's a product or service that you're providing, and you're providing financing for that particular product or service. So with a lot of these jewelry type of companies, they have jewelry, which is the product. They're offering finance. That's the product and service. It's not the aspect of reporting that trade line. Now, I know the majority of people are actually signing up with these companies because they want that account to report. But from the credit bureau's perspective, the trade line is not the product. The product is the financing for that particular product or service. So the credit reporting agencies are starting to be a little bit more strict, and you're going to see this a lot more. I know a lot of these types of companies have become very popular because it's an easy way for you to get data reporting on your credit, and most people aren't really signing up to get jewelry, and I understand that. But what you have to understand is that people who are calling up or writing, emailing, complaining about the account not reporting, that's not technically what you paid the membership fee for. You paid the membership fee to have access to the financing to purchase the jewelry, which you can still do. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about AG Jewelers. Now, we did a video on AG Jewelers, just giving you guys some follow-up information. Now, for those who didn't catch that video, basically, AG Jewelers had grown so quickly. They were reporting other accounts for different companies, and that drew the attention of the credit reporting agencies who were looking a little bit more closely. Now, that's not to say that AG Jewelers won't be able to report at some time in the future, but you have to remember, AG Jewelers, they're an actual jewelry store. They're not in the business of selling trade lines. So you can still use your line of credit to purchase jewelry, but the credit reporting aspect of it, you have to understand, is secondary, right? That's just one of the benefits that a lot of people wanted, but technically you were not purchasing a trade line. So that's one thing you have to understand. Now, the reason why the credit reporting agencies are starting to crack down, and this is just my opinion, when they perceive a company as selling data, that actually corrupts the integrity of the credit reporting system, right? Because if you could just buy trade lines and buy data to appear more credit worthy, then that's actually going to give a distorted picture of your actual credit worthiness, right? Because for the most part, a lot of these companies aren't doing an underwriting process in order to give you a $5, $10, $15,000 primary trade line. Is basically you pay a fee and then they'll report that particular trade line. So the issue that I think the credit reporting agencies have is the fact that people are getting these trade lines and they're not really undergoing any type of underwriting criteria. So when those types of accounts are reporting and people are applying for, let's say, bank issue types of accounts, it'll appear as though that person is more credit worthy because they have these accounts reporting. So it's given a distorted reality of the actual credit worthiness of the particular consumer. And this is the point that I was trying to make the other day, where a lot of lenders now are starting to use alternative data sources going forward. So it's not just about what trade lines you have, what your numeric credit score is. They're introducing other types of data points in order to evaluate you and get a full picture of your financial status. And when people are adding trade lines, adding authorized users, that's really a distorted version of your actual credit profile, right? Because you're getting these accounts without any underwriting, right? So anyone can get signed up for an AU. There's no credit check or anything like that. And most of these credit builder types of accounts, MyJewelers Club, AG, Ligos, even Hutton Chase recently, they got shut down. So a lot of those accounts are very easy for people to add. So now the credit reporting agencies are starting to adjust. When consumers appear more credit worthy than they are, that poses more risk to the lenders, because the lenders, they're looking at this data, but the data is actually being bought, right? It's not data based on, any type of underwriting process. Anyone can sign up and add these trades. So that's just what's happening right now. So my advice going forward is to focus on bank issue types of accounts, right? There's other ways of building credit. And sometimes the shortcut, what you perceive as a shortcut, because that's the reason why a lot of people are drawn into these types of trade lines, right? I get a $10,000 trade line, I get a $5,000, $15,000, is because most people starting out otherwise wouldn't have those types of limits on their credit report if they're applying to, credit unions or, major financial institutions. They would need to have a built up profile already. So this whole idea of shortcuts, they're starting to close in on these loopholes, right? These shortcuts that were working in the past aren't going to be working going forward. So you got to look into these other data points. Building your credit profile organically is the best way to go. I always talked about secured cards, credit builder loans, there's shared secured loans, and there's entry level types of credit cards. But I feel like a lot of people, look at that and they don't want to go through the process of that. So therefore, a lot of these other types of accounts seem more appealing. But the credit reporting agencies are starting to crack down. Now, let's go back to AG Jewelers real quick. So again, I did a review on that, and a lot of people were asking, what's the status of that? So just one thing you have to remember is, AG Jewelers did not anticipate this happening, right? And this is just an overall thing that's happening with several companies. So it's not anything that they did wrong as the reason why these accounts stopped reporting. It's really up to the credit reporting agencies. And so there's just an overall shift in the entire, lending credit reporting space. So you just have to adjust with that, right? A lot of these methods that have been working in the past aren't going to be working going forward. And we're starting to see this more even with a lot of these types of trade lines no longer reporting. MyJewelers Club, a lot of people are seeing that drop off of their TransUnion, and I suspect that it'll start to happen with some of the other bureaus. But anyways, that's all I wanted to cover in today's video. Let me know your comments and questions right down below. Until next time, take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.